and soon my son will be joining me. But we want to go live right now to Los Angeles. We're on the East Coast, they're on the West Coast, so there's 3 hour difference. So right now they have Mayor Bass, she's speaking. So we're going to just dive
is
in.
being created by the administration completely unnecessarily. Thank you very much. But it is just not appropriate for there to be violence, and I don't want people to fall into the chaos that I believe is being created by the administration completely unnecessarily. Thank you very much.
You know what? That sounds almost crazy to hear her say that. Thanks for joining. And we're just going to look at some of the stuff that's been going on. What's been going on, as far as my perspective, is far from being a peaceful protest. There's been nothing peaceful about anything that's been happening in California. And the only thing that's been going on is escalated. This reminds me what I used to watch on television when you would look at other parts of the world and you would see these type of protests and the motorcycles and the car in the street and different flags and all of that. California is a third world country. All these sanctuary cities are being protected by Democrats. And it's like insanity. There's nothing peaceful about spray painting the whole community, vandalizing stores, burning down cars, assaulting the military, assaulting cops, all this, you know, lawlessness. And it's nothing peaceful. And Governor Newsom, from day one, when this started, as a governor, he should have been out there speaking to the people. A governor is like the president of that state. Governor Newsom in California should have addressed the concerns of his constituents. I'm talking about the Americans, because those are the people that have a right. Those are the people that cast votes for him to be in office. And I'm quite sure everyone is not on board with the destruction and the lawlessness that's going on in California. You have to bring some kind of order, period. You have to bring order. You have Mayor Bass out there. They're saying they want people to continue, let it grow bigger. You have councilwomen out there saying that they want more of this. Now, more of this is like they're taking over America. I don't know if any of you guys have ever seen to this level like this in all these different cities in Chicago, New York, California. This is just the beginning of what the open borders have caused to this country. This is only the beginning. Look at this. Look at how they deface the buildings. Look at this. This is crazy. This is welcome to America. Look at this. This is insanity. They are above the law. If that was a black protest, everybody would be in jail. Look, it'd be bullets everywhere. But they have protection to do all of this. They got all cops are bitches. Look at this. They said our city, F our ICE. Look, they like F our ICE. All cops are bitches. Look at this. This is crazy. This is insanity on another level.
We can say no. We will not be a part of this.
And they are fighting for criminals. They are literally fighting for criminals. They are fighting for murderers, rapists, molesters, robbers, vandalizers. They are not fighting for American people.
We create a system that doesn't work, and then we punish people for that system. Our Constitution allows
The Constitution was written for American citizens, not for people from all these other countries to come into America and take over our country. They're taking over our country.
So they said, if it gets out of control and we have somebody who wants to be,
look at this.
you take to the street.
They can't even arrest the people that should be arrested because they can't even go into the prisons to pull them out. They won't allow them to do that.
And we are saying no. Children are dying. Is this America we want? No. Why are they coming over here? Because we have jobs, we have resources. We have enough. We have enough. The table is long enough. We have enough to share.
This is insanity on another level. What's going on? When Trump removed that sanctuary city status, then they're going to come into order because they are protected by it and they know it.
Look at what Joe Biden and the Democrats have done.
This is what they have done.
They have ruined America.
Period.
You think these Democrats are for you to the people watching? You see what Van Hollen just did? Went all the way to El Salvador for a legal immigrant who was allegedly a part of MS-13. The Democrats are not for you. I know people come in the chat and they be Democrats. I just want to say to you and make this clear that the Democrats aren't for you. They put illegals before you. Exactly, Joe. This is not America anymore. I don't know. We're in some type of twilight zone. I don't know what kind of country this is now. Now New York's not safe. Now Colorado's not safe. Now California's not safe. It's not America anymore. It's not. You know how much I love New York City and California, Los Angeles, where I could go and, talk to people and, go on the Walk of Fame and go to the Big Apple and shop and look around. Can't do that anymore. If you want to be safe, you can't do that anymore. If you don't want to be safe, by all means, go ahead. But if you want to be safe, you can't do that anymore.
Yeah, we're angry too. We're angry that 77 million people voted to close them damn borders. And we need to be heard.
No, who we should be angry about is Laken Riley and Jocelyn and the mother of 5.
Rachel Warren.
Yeah.
They're not angry about that.
Yeah.
Ain't no protest about Lincoln Riley. Yeah, Gavin Newsom, you should be there because he was supposed to make sure he kept law and order. There's nothing been about peaceful protests. And that sounds like Maxine Waters.
To the person who said that Garcia wasn't in MS-13, then why did his wife, his girl, blur out his knuckles when she posted the GoFundMe photo of him and her? What was on his knuckles?
This is Trump and his outrageous
God.
attempt to not only target our sanctuary city, but to frighten us and intimidate us. This is wrong, and I hope that none of you will use those guns to shoot anybody.
Look at this.
There's no reason to shoot Everybody, don't allow them to make your service and a service that you're killing people. Don't do it. Don't shoot those guys for anything. Thank you.
What do you think about the protests that happened? Do you believe that they have this America this fun?
This is peaceful protest. Is that American flag? Oh no, Mexico. Mexico, right.
To the user out, my point wasn't about whether he was in MS-13 or not. If that hurts your feelings that I said that, I don't care. My point was how much a Democrat, Van Hollen, and just Democrats in general will put illegals over American citizens was my point that I was trying to make.
Peaceful protest. This is peaceful protest. Graffiti, burning cars down. Yeah, look at all that peaceful protest. They have blocked highways, burnt, set cars on fire. They have vandalized buildings, attacking National Guards, attacking police officers, attacking ICE, attacking the military. Yeah, Democrat policies at work. Yeah, I'm trying. This is ridiculous.
Would you rather not be home with your family dog? With your homies kicking in bunkers? That's what we're trying to do. That's all we're trying to do. Is kill our family, homie. Just like you guys. You have your brothers, you have a family, brother. We want to be with them just as much as you want to be with us. That's really why we're out here. I don't see all this necessary. I don't know how guys, I don't know. I think necessary guys.
Yeah, you could thank a Democrat for this. Thank you, Democrats. Thank you for bringing this to our doorsteps. You can thank a Democrat. Thank Gavin Newsom. Thank Mayor Bass. Thank Hakeem Jeffries. Thank Jasmine Crockett. Thank Kamala Harris. Thank Biden. Thank Schumer. The list goes on and on. Thank a Democrat. This is what it looks like in blue states. Look at this. This is what it looks like in blue states. States run, every state run by the Democrat. This is what it looks like now. It's in New York too, moron. It's in Chicago too. You haven't been keeping up because you slow. Haven't been keeping up. Check out what's happening in New York. This is ridiculous. This is the new America. Welcome to America. This is America. Don't be disrespectful or I will block you. I'm stunned because you sound dumb right now. If you don't like the content, you're welcome to leave. It don't change reality. Thank God that Trump is the president. Thank God. Because if Kamala had won, we would be done. Oh. Is this a third world country or is this America? Let me go skip to it.
I don't know how you could be an American and for this. That's like why some people in the chat aren't from America. They're in totally different countries right now because you can't see this as an American and be for this. No matter what party you're a part of and you claim to be a part of or whatever, you can't be for this as an American. They're literally destroying our country and blocking traffic and fighting and hitting police officers.
They know it. They've been watching and keeping up. There's no way that you don't see United States citizens doing all this because guess what? We have to follow the law. There's no way that we would get away with what they are doing. What they are doing, we wouldn't get away with this. And that's a fact. There's no way they would allow this. You know, we have to follow the law, but sanctuary cities give criminals protection. They can do whatever they want to. And then they got the crazy Democrats that are trying to say, no, don't lock up the murderer. No, don't lock up the rapist. No.
Very big immigrant community, so it will probably not be very well received. We've heard from our partners at CBS that just in the last hour or so that Governor Newsom and President Trump spoke on the phone for about 40 minutes. We don't know the contents of that phone call, but maybe something has changed throughout that. We don't know.
And this, of course, is all because of President Trump's policy to deport unauthorized migrants.
one thing we're going to do
Yes.
is we're not going to have the news misconstruing what the facts are. What they're doing and what ICE is doing is getting rid of those who are criminals. That's been the target. The problem has been is that they have not allowed ICE to go into the prisons. Tom Holman has been saying and pleading with them, look, let us just go in. They're already in there. Let us go and we remove them. If you don't let us do it that way, then we're going to go on to the streets. If we go onto the streets, then guess what? They already broke the law, so these people are going to get caught in the crossfire because they're not allowing them to go into the prisons. The people, listen, the people that they are arresting and that have in hell right now are those who have committed crimes, not just breaking the law coming into the country. They have committed crimes since they've been here. They are not allowing them access. Then you got the crazy ass Democrats that they're trying to get the worst of the worst out of your neighborhood. Out of your neighborhood. They have destroyed. When I went to Los Angeles, I love it. Beautiful. None of this stuff is going on. 4 years later, you can't go there. It's destroyed. They're tearing it up. It doesn't even look like America. They don't even fly American flags. So that's what's going on. And then they're acting like they're the victims. They are not peacefully protesting. You don't peacefully protesting, throwing things at the military, at the cops, at the vets, at Homeland Security, burning up cars, even some of the newscasters, they have brand new vehicles, setting them all on fire. They're vandalizing the trucks. They're vandalizing everything. They're disrespectful. They're spitting on them. They're fussing at them. And if that was anybody else, I promise that God is sitting on the throne, they would have locked them up. They would have been beating them down like they normally beat down, especially black people. There's no way that this stuff would be going on. And this looks more like a third world country. And the media is always twisting it. This was going on before Trump sent in the National Guards. If he did not send in the National Guards, they would have taken over freaking California. United States don't belong to illegal immigrants. Those laws that they're talking about were made for United States citizens. They don't have the same rights as we do. So they need to respect our country. It's one guy I'm going to show you. He's taking a flag and he's slinging it and banging it on the ground. They have no respect at all for America. There's nothing in their conversations that they're uplifting America saying, you know what? I'm so happy to be here. And I know I came in here illegally, but your president, your former president, he opened up the border and I came for, an opportunity, but I'm happy to be here and I'm going to do what I need to do to become an American citizen. Do you hear any of them saying that? Any of them? Do you hear any of them saying that's their goal? There's none of them are saying that. But you know what they are saying? We have rights. You know what we're going to do? We're going to do what we want to do. We're going to march. We're going to shut everything down. We got our graffiti. We're going to throw bottles and cans and bricks at y'all. And guess what? Because of sanctuary city status, y'all can't arrest us. Y'all can't do nothing. And guess what? Your governor saying that we're not at fault. We could tear it down. Just like he allowed the wildfires to burn down the Palisades in California. No water. These are the Democrats are sick. And this is coming from a Democrat that has always voted Democrat. And if I can stand here as a black woman and call this bull crap out, all of us can. I mean, right is right, wrong is wrong. Don't justify this. Yeah, they trying to act like Mexicans are acting like it's a Black Lives Matter protest. It is not. This is at least Black Lives. At least we've been here. At least we've been here from the beginning. You know, we are citizens. We're not trying to become citizens. We're not illegals. We're not illegals. We're still fighting for rights that we deserve. But we still are Americans. We're still one nation under God. And we still love our country. Because there's always good and bad everywhere you go. But this is horrific.
But come on, how bad can it get?
This is crazy.
This is like top level bad at this point.
It's top level. And the governor telling me, oh, well, we're doing peaceful. You're not doing no peaceful protests. You're stopping people from doing their jobs. See, their whole thing is that the Democrats are sending even these hidden protesters that are being paid to be out there. That's what they did with their hands off. That they were paying people, stir it up, and blame Trump.
Wasn't it 50-51 too, or something like that?
Yeah, 50-51. 50 days, 50 people in one day. Well, no, 50 protests, and yeah, I think it was 50 states here, 50 protests in one day. That was the 50-51.
I don't know if someone's joking or not, but they said, why are you worried about it? It's not your burning car.
I'm worried about it because this is my country. Maybe, see, you're not American. Because if you're American, it's all about concerns. For people to come into our country flying everybody else's flag except for our flag, and then I see our flag being whipped on the ground, stomped, spit on, ripped, and burned. That's what they think of America. They don't respect you. They don't respect our country. They're making our country look like a shithole. That's what it looks like. They tearing it up. They tearing it up. That's a fact. We're not going to sugarcoat anything on here. And I'm tired of this mess. And this is just the beginning. Because you know what's here that's hiding out? Wait till they start acting up. This is nothing.
Trump has put his life on the line multiple times for even just running for president. He definitely respects Americans, including us.
They have taken...
Robert, thank you so much, Robert.
Oh, thank you.
Appreciate it.
What did he say? Anything else? Thank you so much. They have taken over our country. Our country. And we should say, okay, hold up. Even if you for whatever the open borders.
Thanks, man.
I don't think that you signed up. Did you sign up for this? And you know the jobs that we want, guess what? The jobs that they running out of these places, Americans should be working in those jobs. You know that they had a higher employment rate than Americans? Are y'all kidding me?
Does anyone here live in New York City?
Anybody here from California right now?
Colorado?
You know, because I can't imagine. I go outside in my community and all I see is spray paint, tore down buildings, busted out windows. That this Los Angeles is supposed to be rich people living there. They're destroying it. They're graffiti some of the skyscrapers from top to bottom. It's horrible.
Yeah.
We ain't signed up for this.
But out of nowhere, in the stop, immigration agents, ICE, all that came, you know, they came dressed up in all their military gear and they stopped traffic. When they stopped traffic, we started noticing, and I told my girl, that's immigration right there. What they started doing was they went in front of a business, a negocio, and they started raiding it. They started bringing people out in vans. Once they started doing that, that's when everybody knew, you know, what was going on. And everybody was there in the traffic jam. Everybody, right? You're stuck in your car, in your vehicle. When they saw us looking at them doing all that, that's when they started throwing tear gas. Everybody was still in their vehicles. As soon as one of the tear
you said there was, who was behind you?
Behind us, there was a woman and her young daughter. She was around 13. I kept in touch with them, and as we speak, she's in the hospital because the tear gas bomb hit her right in the face. They were right behind us, taking notice that we're not there to protest. We were stuck at the light, right? But we're witnessing everything happening right in front of our eyes. The tear gas explodes. They come out crying out of their vehicle, and they can't breathe. They're literally on the ground, right? I have the video, I have the footage, right?
And so what do you and your girlfriend do at that point?
We get off, and we see everybody else getting off to record. peacefully. We do not throw anything at them. We're not yelling at them. We're just recording what's going on because people deserve.
You know what? I don't believe a word this dude is saying. He trying like he's so innocent, but they burning down the whole freaking
Country.
place, and he's trying to act like that they're the innocent ones. I don't believe they've been tearing up the city for the last 3 days. 3 days. And they're supposed to have their governor and they're supposed to have their elected officials. They're supposed to be out there for law and order. We're going to hear with somebody. We're going to look at more of it because it's live. We're going to go back to the live stream that's going on right now. But we want to hear
to watch
more.
This as we bring into the conversation ICE Deputy Director Madison Sheehan. Madison, let me just get your take on the images we're seeing on the screen right now. What do you say to all of this?
Well, look, I think it's unacceptable that people are out treating law enforcement this way, treating the National Guard this way. You know, these men and women protect the United States of America every single day, and they're just not being treated with the respect that they deserve for putting their lives on the line.
Yeah, look all the
to protect
American flags.
people from the open border policies that the Biden administration had for so long, forcing the men and women of ICE to go into these communities, get the worst of the worst out of the community. And it's just completely disrespectful what you're seeing done to these men and women.
When we talk about the worst of the worst, Secretary Holman has released a list of some of the people who have been captured in this operation in Los Angeles. Can you, I think you're familiar with some of the names and some of the charges that these people are facing. Can you tell us about them?
Absolutely. President Trump and Secretary Noem have set a mission for ICE to get the worst of the worst out of these communities, whether it's child rapists, human traffickers, murderers, the type of people you do not want in your community. And we have been working in LA and the surrounding areas to get these people out of the community, to keep the American people safe. President Trump had a mandate from the American people to deliver on this promise, to secure the border and allow enforcement to happen in the interior. And that's what the men and women of ICE have put their lives on the line to do every single day. And they're being attacked by the public for these actions. And it's just unacceptable what we're seeing here.
I'm going to read some of the names of people who've been arrested this week. Quang Chon Phan, a 49-year-old illegal alien from Vietnam, whose record includes a conviction for second-degree murder. He'd been sentenced to 15 years to life. Rolando Veneracion Enriquez, who has a criminal history of burglary and sexual assault and assault with intent to commit rape. These are the kinds of people who have been arrested, and yet there are folks in the street there trying to suggest, I guess, that ICE should not be detaining them.
That's what they're saying.
It is. It's absolutely crazy. This is the narrative that the Democrats continue to push, that the men and women of ICE are not protecting the American people, and that's just completely false. They are out working to get the worst of the worst out of these communities, so that way they do not continue to go into American communities and wreak havoc on the American people. We are working every single day to stop this invasion from happening, stop the rhetoric that has continued to put officers in harm's way. Look, just as Mr. Holman said, just as Secretary Noem has said, you have a right to protest in this country. You have a right to voice your First Amendment rights. But what you do not have a right to do is to harm law enforcement and harm other people in the way of that. And that's what we're seeing right now.
How do you feel about the level of support that you have received from the mayor of Los Angeles and the governor of California?
Well, look, they just haven't shown up for the American people and, quite frankly, for their own constituents. And it's time for the Democratic Party to start showing up for the American people, the people that they represent.
The American people.
Deliver to President Trump in this election to be able to deliver this for the American people, secure the border, enforce laws in the interior. And that's what we're doing at ICE every single day. That is what Secretary Noem has committed to the American people. And with the leadership of President Trump and his full support, the men and women of ICE know that they can go out into the community and keep the American people safe.
Well, speaking of safety, what about your officers, your agents? I mean, they are facing some some real violence there in Los Angeles.
They're facing violence in Los Angeles and all over the country. We've seen over a 400% increase of violence against ICE officers, against the men and women of ICE who put their lives on the line to protect the communities. They're
Y'all
going after
crazy.
their families, their friends, they're doxing
Thank a
them. They're doing
Democrat.
everything they can do to put our law
Look at this.
enforcement
Thank a
officers
Democrat, the new
in
America.
harm's
Welcome
way,
to America.
and our officers
The
continue
new
to
third
step
world
forward,
country.
meet the
Look
line
at
of duty,
this.
and be able
Like Donald
to
Glover's song,
do the
This Is
mission that the
America.
American people have sent them on.
We appreciate them for it, and we appreciate you for coming on today. Madison Sheehan is the Deputy Director.
Yeah, we could thank a Democrat for this nonsense. When did this started? Under Biden. Who's at fault for this? Biden. This is just ridiculous at this point. There's nothing peaceful about this protest. They have been losing their minds for the last few days. They feel that they are so emboldened that they think that Biden is still in office. They think they could still do what they want to do, tear up the country, tear up the city, that they are not held accountable for anything. They got crazy Maxine Ward out there talking about, don't shoot, y'all. They just trying to get headlines.
Tired.
Yeah, she's trying to get a headline talking about don't shoot. Just trying to make it like more than what it is. This is bad.
Never mind.
What?
One of the comments was just crazy.
This is what they're doing for sport, right? Burning all these cars, right? Look at them. This is live.
Someone said Anton said this wasn't going to happen.
Anton said, tell Anton he was wrong. Look at this. Look at this. There's a row of it, all going down. They got all the cars set on fire. Look at this. This is what the military, ICE, Homeland Security. This is what they're used to from where they're from. This is where you're from. See, you used to this. See, y'all want to bring that bullshit to America. Because this is where you're from. This is what y'all do. See, this is normal to them. Because, see, this is what they do in their country.
It's a day in the life.
This is the day in the life of an illegal immigrant. This is what they did in their countries. Look at this. They didn't come here for America. Look at the flag. Where the American flag at? Sure.
It's a mild protest.
There's a peaceful protest. Remember? They tearing it up. Tearing it up.
This is a disgrace to our country.
The world is watching. Because, see, stuff like this never happened in America. This is crazy. All the flags, all the people, look at them. They're not even from here. Look at this. They're not from here. They don't care about America. They're not trying to be citizens. This is the third world country. You ought to know Hernandez or whatever your name. Hernandez. You know all about it. Third world. Because this is not America. We're not accustomed to this. This is not a day in the life of an American. This is a day in the life where you from.
This isn't a normal vlog.
This not us. This is what we're supposed to see somewhere else. This is not us. One of the poorest country here we are now. Because the 8th Bank of America is closed.
That doesn't make any sense.
Trump gonna put in order. Look at this. See, they think this is okay. Look, y'all, the illegal immigrants think this is, see, this, they think this is like how we do things. This is not how you make change. Because you're not stronger than the United States of America. You're not stronger than the United States of America. Trump gonna have to put them in a headlock. You're gonna have to get real serious.
Yes, pitch, yes. Leave the stream, dude.
Listen, ma'am, there are thousands of streams. You can just go listen to someone else. Look at this. This is not no damn black and brown. This is crazy. This is called crazy.
Crazy insane.
This is crazy. I don't stand with this. Look at this. Look, they done set like 10 cars on fire. This is crazy.
Yeah, no black person should be out there.
Yeah, this is supposed to be anti-ICE protests. Okay, I'm talking over this.
They holding
Look.
Black Lives Matter flags up. Like
This is supposed to be anti-ICE protests when ICE are trying to get the worst of the worst off our streets. Tell me how that makes sense. That people will be out there protecting the criminals at this level. The criminals, they probably say these people crazy. Don't they not just murder someone? I raped that child. I done molested this person. I done robbed them. I done all this stuff. Yeah, and they're protesting for me. How I know the criminals are looking at it. These people are really crazy. Go on, y'all. That's right. Fight for my right to be free to kill some more. Yeah, fight for me to be able to rape more children. Yeah, fight for me. That I can steal from your stores, that I can rob your house. Fight for me. Fight for me. They're arresting criminals. It doesn't make any sense. This is like insanity on another level.
How am I wrong for my hat? The Trump hat. How am I wrong? We need Kanye to make a song. Yeah, we need Kanye.
Where's Kanye when you need him? But like they have officials that are in California. They have Governor Newsom and they have Mayor Bass. They should have had a hold of this situation. They allowed this to get to where it is now because of their non-action. I fault them in what has transpired because of their non-action. These people they feel like that they can muscle their way, they can yell loud enough, and like the president of the United States is going to do what they say. Like Congress is going to do what they say.
Oh, thank you, Benji. Appreciate it.
It's not going to happen. They can jump up and down and spin on their head. President Trump, Vice President J.D. Vance, the Republican administration, 77 million people. See, y'all keep forgetting that 77 million people voted to get them all of them out the country. 77 million people. So they making a lot of noise. They getting the news coverage because the people that are voting to end this mess, they do it by their votes. They're not out in the streets burning down cars, graffiti, like get them out, deport them all. They're not out there writing their sayings all over the buildings. You know what they do? They vote. Yeah. They vote. You know what they do? They call their congressman and say, you see this mess that's going on? I voted you to get this out, to stop this. This is why we don't want them here. See what's going on?
Thank you, Charlotte. But the question is to what end? Like, how much do they have to do until you finally see the full picture of what who they are. Like, to what end? Like, to the people coming here in the chat, we're showing them they got the city on fire. They got their
Well, the same thing been going on in New York the whole time.
Yeah,
They
just like
set a
to
lady
what
on
end?
fire, let her burn
Oh,
American. They
damn.
have done all kinds of stuff. They have
Forgot
raped
about
kids.
that.
They've been doing all kinds of stuff.
Killing people.
Nothing triggers the Democrat. But you know what? You deport Kilmar Garcia, Congressman what's his name? Van Hollen.
Yeah.
He's over there in El Salvador. That's what they care about. You know the people, Rachel Morin, that lost her life, brutally murdered, banged, beat up with a brick or whatever, 25 times in her head, thrown up against a wall and raped, thrown on the ground and raped, then he choked her to death. You think that he reached out to that family? He didn't. But he flew over to El Salvador for Kilmar, the senator that was elected by the people. His constituent that suffered a brutal murder, he didn't even reach out to their family.
That's not a problem for you guys. What about the 300,000 missing children?
350,000.
350,000. Is that a problem for you?
This is not the way. And the people that have sympathy or felt like, okay, maybe we should, do something, that more people can become citizens. This is a turnoff. This is a big problem. And it's going to escalate because the Democratic Party knows that ICE is trying to get rid of the worst of the worst. They wear masks, the protesters, and you don't know who they are. You don't know who the protesters are. They don't know who they are. We got 15,000 murderers, 350 terrorists here. We got 13,000 convicted murders. We got 2 million gotaways. They don't even know who's out there.
And also, like, other...
And this is all on the news. I'm just repeating what the news has said.
And also, like, other countries that are out there that are against us, this is, like, the perfect time to attack us. Because everyone's against Trump who's didn't vote for him. You got people protesting for people that aren't even from this country. It's like the most vital time to attack us would be right now. Because everyone's divided. No one, this country isn't together.
The thing about it is that the Democrats are stupid. I mean, they're just stupid.
Yeah.
They stupid. It's a stupid party with no leader, no leader at all, no solution for anything. They don't fight for the American people at all. They only fight for illegal immigrants. They allow all this stuff to go on like this is what the people wanted. The people voted and showed that this is what we don't want. That's what our votes were about. That's why Trump is the president of the United States of America.
Too strong for life. How's this misinformation? The video is right in front of you.
We're going to put them on.
Saying we fall for misinformation.
Okay. Yeah, all this is misinformation. Yeah, we got the memo. Look at all those American flags out there. Look at all those American flags. Yeah, they happy to be in America. Look at all the American flags. They're emboldened, right? This is what they're doing to our country. Protest. It looks very peaceful to me.
Look at that. Trying to attack the police officers. Cecilia, why can't we get American citizens to do that? To build our houses, to be lawyers, which
Exactly.
they already do, business owners, which they already are, doctors, which they already are, put food on our tables, which they already do. But why don't we just get Americans for that instead of people from these different countries? I don't get the point you're making. Americans can do those jobs.
America has always done these
Yeah,
jobs.
have always done those jobs.
So the last 3 years they've been here, all of a sudden we can't do it, right? Yeah, sure.
Americans disabled. Attacking the cops.
Yeah, they know they can attack the cops. Look at this. This is not American. I don't care how you slice this up. I don't care how you slice it up. You know, there is no way this should be going on in the United States of America. There's no way that this represents the United States of America. You don't hear none of them saying USA. None of them saying they want to came here to become a citizen and they want to do it the right way. You don't hear any of them. They act like they are entitled to come and take over our country. And our president going to do what they say. Right. There's no way that you have a damn wife, Gregory, because you, first of all, you can't even speak. They see this bullshit. Look, ain't no way. See, anybody that can justify this is a liar. There's no way you can justify this.
Salvador.
We're not down with this. This is out of order. This is what they brought to the United States of America. Look at this. This was not going on. Three days of this. They're going to learn about the United States of America the hard way. They were able to do this under Biden, but they're going to be in for a rude awakening when that hammer starts falling on them. Where the American flags at? I know. Well, if Pelosi had sent the National Guards, January 6th wouldn't happen. You are aware of that. You are aware of that, right? Corn Pop. You're aware that Nancy Pelosi was supposed to send the National Guards, right, for January the 6th. You already know that, right? They are trying to stop ICE from arresting criminals. They have already sought out, they already know who they are before they came for them. These are legitimate criminals.
Someone said Donald Trump's about to send the Marines.
Send the Marines, Donald Trump. Send the Marines. Shut them down. Shut them down. Yeah, they got, the cops are trying to keep it chill. Look at this. You could thank a Democrat for all this. This should never be going on in the United States of America. The Democrats did this. They brought all these people here illegally. The police can't even arrest them. And they don't. Yeah, they stopped, they blocked the highway, they've been to that, yeah. They can't even arrest them. That's why they catch and release them. It doesn't matter what crime they have committed. There was nothing like this. Nothing like this. And the Democrats was in charge of that as well. This is crazy. They want to justify it by saying January 6th. They're supposed to justify this.
You can put on. So I just had a question I had to ask you.
What?
The question is that I just was thinking about, like, and it just came to me. It's like, how is Trump going to fix all of this?
How is Trump going to? In the chat.
There's so much, like.
What is your suggestion? I want to hear from a Democrat. So, how do you resolve what's going on in New York, Chicago, Colorado, and New York? All the different sanctuary states. How do you resolve this when the laws don't apply to them? How do you get the criminals out of the country?
Yeah, Chicago too.
When ICE cannot, now before they go in on anyone, they have to thoroughly do all their research. They prepare. They have all the court orders. They have everything that they need to go in and arrest these people and remove them off the streets. So do you think it's wise and it's safe for United States citizens to allow this mayhem to go on and we don't do anything about it?
Yeah.
That everybody's supposed to sit back, let people who are illegally here take over our country and dictate what they're going to do, what we're not going to do to the United States citizens and to the president of this country. They're so emboldened that they really feel like they are in charge when the Constitution was written for American citizens. It's not written for them.
And that's the thing.
And they think they don't have the same rights as we do.
But that's the thing, when you arrest them, that costs taxpayer money.
It costs money to keep them, it costs money to get them out, but it costs more for them to stay.
Yeah.
Because they're on our Social Security, they're on our Medicare, they're in our educational system. They're draining us. They're draining what we have. And we're already $36 trillion in debt. We can't afford to have them here. That's the main thing. They're a burden. You imagine having, like, you're trying to take care of your household and you have 20 more people that came into your house that's living in your house, and you got to provide food for all these extra 20 people that came into your home. That's what happened to America. But we had between 14 and 20 million homeless people that came into our house. Now, you could not sustain and provide health care, food, cars, laptops, SNAP, education, everything, shelter that this government had to provide for these people. That's not a plus for us. And then they talk about, well, who's going to pick the crops? Who's going to do all this? It was being done before them, and it'll be done after them. But those are not the jobs that they're getting. They're giving them money to have their own businesses. Look at all the lawn care businesses. They got them. All the carpentry businesses, they got them. All the construction jobs, they got them. All the housekeeping jobs, they got them. They have the jobs that normally would be filled by Americans. They were being hired more than Americans.
Yeah, that's why I had to pause and reply to that one person saying, who's going to feed you? Who's going to cut your lawn? Who's going to Those are
We
American
already
jobs.
got people
Yeah.
cutting our lawns and doing the work. It's been with America been how long is it? How old is this country? Are you kidding me? It's going to get done. It's been getting done. But they were not brought in here for your crops. They were not brought in here to
Great point.
do your lawns. They were not brought here for that. They were brought here for votes. Do you understand what's going on? They weren't brought in. Y'all brainwashed by the mainstream media stream. They're telling you, oh, they were brought in here for jobs and to do your crops, and we need them. No, we don't need them for that. They were brought in here for votes. They don't care. The Democrats are supporting all of this. They don't care they're destroying the cities. They don't care that they're killing kids and women. They don't care how many people are raped. They don't care. It's about power.
Yeah.
This is all about power. They don't care about these people.
And
The only thing they want to do is legalize them, not because it's going to be a better America. This is not a better America with them here. This is not demonstrating a better America with them here.
And another thing, it's going to cost the country just so much money.
We can't afford it.
Because you have to arrest them. Then you have to give them a plane ride. But when they're arrested, they got to eat and they got to do different
And
things.
Penn Medicine.
And then you have, it's just going to cost the country so much money to even get them out of here that Joe Biden and his agenda and his policies, including Kamala and all the other Democrats, screwed you over.
You're speaking the truth.
They screwed you over. They screwed me over. They screwed everyone here over. And I just can't believe people still can't realize that. Do you see this? Does this look like America? Do you see the flag he's holding? Is that an American flag right there? He just left. But what flag was that? I was like a Mexico flag.
They're not here to become Americans. They're not. This is not America. This is not supporting American values. This is not supporting what we believe in. This is not it. This is far from
that car.
Yeah, all of them like that. This is the stuff that Governor Newsom and Karen Bass in California, Mayor Karen Bass, has been allowing to go on. They should have stopped this from the door. But you know what? They don't want that. They can burn it down. He allowed the wildfires to burn down California. He don't care about this. This is not the American way. We didn't sign up for this. The rest of us Americans who have common sense, we don't want this. This does not represent United States of America. Right now, you got newscasters from around the world that have all the known reporting what's happening in this country. Look at America now. Look at America. Look at America. There's nothing peaceful and normal about this. These people have been violent. You can't be violent. The ICE don't need to go through them to do their damn job. They don't have to get permission from the illegal immigrants to do their job. They can't hire anybody, and they can't fire anybody, and they can't vote for anybody. They don't have any right stopping them from doing their job. And especially they're trying to keep America safe. They're trying to keep America safe. And these idiots are fighting against that. There's no justification for this.
1 second. It's not loading. But somebody in the chat said that Trump is sending Marines to California.
He's going to have to. Because Governor Newsom is sitting on his behind.
Yeah, 500 Marines.
And he's not doing anything. Just like he didn't put out the wildfires. He allowed the $50 billion worth of destruction that burned down communities, burnt down schools, burnt down houses, neighborhoods, communities. and he didn't even have a reservoir with water. The Trump had to freaking go there and do an executive order so that they can run some of that damn water into the reservoir. And now these assholes can't even stop this mess before it even escalated to this. All they had to do was go out there and speak to their people, because their goal should be to keep law and order and allow the police and allow the police, allow the military, allow Homeland Security to do their job. That's what they should have been doing. But no, they supporting it. This look like something I would see somewhere in overseas.
Look at what AFO in the comments said. He said, I'd say that the police caused the violence. Violence is an act of harm on people, not destroying property and little paint on
Look
buildings.
at this. They got masks on. They got all this on. So the police, they're supposed to do their job, is causing a problem because these people feel like, so you're saying in this country, we supposed to let these people overpower the police and authority? Is that what you're saying? That we supposed to allow, look what they're doing. So the police not supposed to do nothing, right? The police are making arrests of criminals. So they not supposed to arrest criminals? Is that what we doing now? That's the stuff happening in Mexico, this kind of, that's what they used to. Somewhere else in the world. So the police not supposed to, so the police aren't allowed.
That's the flag I was talking about.
The police aren't allowed to lock up criminals now, right? The legals rule the United States of America now, right? So we're supposed to take orders and we're supposed to do what they say to do now. That's what's going on, right?
Matt said, what's your prediction for what's going to happen tonight?
Well, we're on the East Coast, so it's a 3-hour difference. So this is going to be going on for a while, but they're going to set it off. You know, unless the National Guard, they most definitely was needed. They were needed because the government in California were doing nothing.
No, the Marines need to be out there now.
Yeah, well, they're going to send them. They weren't doing anything.
I looked it up and it said that the Marines are on alert right now. But
they need to be there.
Yeah.
They don't need to continue to allow this to escalate. They're not trying to be American citizens. This is not an example of the way we behave. This is not an example. Especially, you want to talk about Americans acting up January 6th. At least they were Americans. These people are illegally here doing this. That's the big difference.
Yeah, to just be waving another country's flag in America or whatever country.
Disrespectful.
It's disrespectful.
And they slamming our flag on the ground.
And
they burning it. They slamming our flag. I gotta get the
Spitting
video
on it.
showing they spitting on it, burning our flag, stomping it on the ground. They don't care about America. They don't care if they destroy it.
That's what they used to.
Oh, greetings from Switzerland. Thank you, Cuckoo. They said, Cindy, you are right. Greetings from Switzerland.
Oh, thanks.
God bless you.
Switzerland. God bless you.
You know, you have to have law and order, and this is lawlessness right here. This is not a hi Switzerland and everybody from around the world. This is not a representation.
Grande, we're not talking about Black Lives Matter right now. So your point is invalid. We're not talking about BLM right now. You're clearly an illegal immigrant.
This is just ridiculous. Now, y'all could go back and talk about anything else, but guess what? They were Americans. These people are not Americans. They are not from this country. This is a disrespect. You can't say that we need to let you stay. We need to do all these things. Let y'all drain us of all our resources. And this is what you want us to accept. But you're not allowing the cops or ICE to do their job. which is getting criminals off the streets.
Catherine, why you say that? Why you say impeach Trump?
They want to impeach him because they want this to go on. Because if you impeach him, it ain't gonna stop this. But their whole thing is this is what they hate. Trump is always the go-to.
Yeah, that's the go-to. That's the model.
Yeah.
Just like Trump said, no matter what I do, people still gonna have.
But this is unacceptable. All this is unacceptable. It's unacceptable because there are laws that are being broken that as Americans we have to keep. It's unacceptable.
Carmen replied to Catherine. They said because Catherine only watches CNN and doesn't know any better. Bless her little heart. Yeah. Listen, I might have to leave this country. I can't even lie to you. Because I plan to have my family one day. I don't know if it's really safe in America anymore. Might have to go to Canada or somewhere like that.
Yeah, that's my son.
Alexia said, please leave. Someone else said, yes, please leave. Bye. Okay, hey.
You first.
You first.
You first. We know you don't belong here.
So I was like, come to Canada. That might be where I go. I know Drake's from Canada and Justin Bieber in The Weeknd. Might have to get out of this country. I mean, I can't lie. I want to have my family. I want them to be safe. Don't want to have to always be looking behind my shoulder and just be staying ready for if someone attacks us.
See, the stuff that's going on, like all this stuff doesn't make any sense. This is not going to be tolerated. This is not going to be tolerated. Okay? This is not America. And we're not going to allow people to come into our country and tear it down like this. They happy. This is what they like. They feel like they back at home.
That guy riding his bike.
They feel like they back at home. You know? Listen, ma'am, you don't know about who support us because you're trying to say, I guess Biden support us, right? One thing that we will be clear on, y'all can just can that Black Lives Matter. Y'all can can about black this, black that. The past president was the worst scoundrel that we ever as black people could have had in office. That bastard was the cause of the 1994 crime bill that caused mass incarceration of black people. We should have never voted his behind in office. He was unfit, and I campaigned for them. You see, you could go to my other videos and see me with Biden, doing selfies with Biden, on videos with Biden, with the Democratic administration. I'm a legislative director, and I didn't even know better. I was drinking the Kool-Aid and listening to CNN and MSNBC and mainstream media and Rachel Maddow and Meet the Press and Lester Hall, Jake Tapper. I was in, all the way in, because I thought the news was honest. That's what I thought. You know, but I woke up and I got off that plantation of those wolves in sheep clothing that have been lying to us. They didn't open up borders because they care about Americans. Was this done for Americans? Because they're supposed to be, we supposed to be their constituents. Do you think the open borders were for us? We're gonna be real. This is called Speak the Truth 2.0.
Were they supposed?
Do you think that all this is going on was to benefit Americans? And all they talk about is, yeah, we're gonna go get Mark Garcia. That's not benefiting me.
Were they supposed to be our allies or our rivals?
You know, none of this. This is not for us. This is being done for votes and power. They want to see they got the black vote because the majority of us, 93%,
it's over.
They don't do nothing for us. Promises everything, never do anything for us. The reason I supported even Biden so hard was that he was promising anti-hate crime bill for black people. I thought after George Floyd had the knee on his neck that we would get an anti-hate crime bill. No, we didn't.
Remember Costco? Go to Costco. Don't go to Target. Go to Costco.
We don't get anything.
Al Sharpton.
The last election, they ain't had to promise anything. All they did was pretended that Kamala was black. Like what she said, black people watch collard greens. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Richard.
Thank you, Richard Miller. That she watches collard greens that we watch collard greens in the bathtub. We don't. She's not black. But that was to get the black votes. But I'm gonna do all I can for 2028. To wake up as many black people as I can and tell them, you look at policy. We look at policy. Don't go with this identity politics and all these lies. The Democrats been in charge for 12 of the last 16 years. And what have they done for us? Black people have been voting for Democrats, they said, for over like 60 years. What have they done for us? We still have the same conditions. Nothing has been done. Nothing. Trump has done more for us than they have, and Obama.
They put illegals over.
The first black president. They put illegals over black people. They put LGBTQ. That's who Obama was the president for the LGBTQ. He started that mess. Pride Month, same-sex marriages, men and women sports. Day of visibility. On Easter.
That's sickening.
On Easter. You got all that mutilation being done to children and people. There's no doctor that has ever existed can change someone's sex. Anybody that's a trans on here, it can't be done. They cannot change your gender, your sex. They can't do it. I'm sorry, but somebody got to tell you the truth. They can't do it. What they can do is mutilate your body, let you go in more depression, and let you be on medication for the rest of your life. Living a difficult life. And then wondering why did you allow them to take away your parts that you need, like your penis, your testicles, or your boobs, everything they do to mutilate for money. It's always about the Benjamins.
Someone in chat, see, this is what I don't like that what he did, because now someone in chat said Elon is right about everything.
So there's a lot. And Trump was the one that did the First Step Act. You know what that consisted of? All that damage that the former President Biden did, being the author of the 1994 crime bill. He said that black people were super predators, don't know rehabilitation, throw away the key. You had kids being put in getting 20, 30 years.
Marie, you keep saying that Trump doesn't care about minorities, but he's been like the only president that's actually contributed in helping minorities, from his First Step Act to giving the HBCUs to getting people out of prison that Joe Biden had locked up in prison from his 1994 crime bill. And don't forget Kamala, she got black people locked up too. One guy, she charged him for murder. He didn't do the murder.
And she didn't want to have the DNA testing being done.
And she laughed in his courtroom.
Yeah. So if you look them up, we could go on and on and on and on. And Trump is working on something spectacular for black people. And I hope to God that he gets it passed through. They're really elevating. Right now, he's working at HBCUs. He wants better technology, better everything. Give more money to black institutions. You would have thought that would have been President Obama. No. And Biden wasn't for black people. Even though he said you ain't black unless you vote for me, and you're the person that put black people in jail. He didn't even think that black people could even think or had a brain or had ambition.
He was shot.
You know,
So
like,
police.
don't get it twisted. Black people just aren't evil. We just don't do all the evil and things we could do. I think black men are most feared, but they're not doing the things for you to fear them like that. But there's a fear of being payback. I think that's what the fear comes from. But black people aren't like that.
Gregory, you're trying to use our term on us, and it doesn't work because
He's trying to use reverse psychology.
yeah, you saying that we drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, Biden was only out for himself. You could look it up. Google it. Google is a wonderful thing. Anything, like, you could fact check us.
What you can use is Chat GPT.
You know, you can find out all this stuff that we're saying for yourself. Because this stuff that's been going on has been horrendous, what has been done to black people. You know, and out of all people, Trump has been the one that has done more for black people than the rest of these politicians and these lying Democrats have been in office. But we're going to keep voting for them. You don't have to worry about that. Well, we slow. We late to the party. You know, we still don't get it. You know, still don't get it.
Ed, when that happened, was Trump president? Yes or no?
What has Trump done? You have to Google it. You know, because it's like exhausting to keep on saying the things that he's done. But I could tell you the things that the Democratic Party has done. I'll run that list down for you in a second.
Alexis, who are you referring to?
You got the most incompetent people in the Democratic Party.
Wait, before you play, Rosebud said, you could just...
What?
I don't know if you want me to say that out loud.
Where's it at? You know what? You could use all that and say all that. We're the righteousness in God through Christ Jesus. We know who we are, but we're not going to call wrong right and right wrong. People feel like that don't mean Jesus didn't accept sin and accept these horrific actions that are being done. We're not going along to get along. This is called Speak the Truth 2.0. And it's a disservice to people when you don't tell them the truth. The behaviors that's going on out there are unacceptable. That does not mean we don't love people. People, you know, that doesn't mean that you're against people when you don't agree with their actions. That's far from the truth. But you need to be able to correct people and tell them what's right. And a lot of people, even like in different communities, they do a disservice when you don't tell people, no, that's wrong. That's wrong. Then people's like, oh, no, you don't accept everything. Everybody is not right. Everybody is not a Christian. Everybody, there are evil, wicked people out here. That's real. Heaven is real. God is real. The devil is real. Demons are real. Hell is real. All this stuff is real. There's a spiritual realm out here that we can't see. They say it's more active and more real than our physical, what we consider real. So, but we're not going to entertain the nonsense. And we're going to call it out.
The city to go to sleep tonight and wake up in the morning and find out about people running through Home Depot parking lots being chased by ICE officers. Are people going to work? Are children at school? So we don't need any of that in our city right now. Our city,
I'm home. My pajamas got to do anything.
Our city does not need to be torn apart with a provocative measure from the federal government. If people get violent, if people break the law, they will be subject to arrest.
They're not doing
and
nothing
they'll be
about
accountable.
it.
It's as simple as that. So peaceful protest is what is needed. Peaceful protest is a part of our American
They're not
tradition.
peacefully protesting lady.
The U.S. Attorney seems resolute to agree to continue regardless of what's happened over the last 2 or 3 days. In your conversations with him, has there been any kind of attempted compromise or some kind of lowering the temperature, at least if things cool off locally if they want to continue, or are they just doing it regardless of how everyone feels?
Well, I mean, I think what we see now is they're doing it regardless of how anyone else feels. My conversation with the U.S. Attorney, though, was not focused on that.
Yeah, another question.
Go ahead, Frank.
It appears that the LAPD is cooperating with ICE in this operation outside the Metropolitan Detention Center. They moved in, it was a peaceful protest. The LAPD moved the people back using flashbang and less than lethal munitions. Comment on that, because
Sure.
the LAPD is not supposed to be cooperating with ICE.
Sure. Well, first of all, I'm not sure that LAPD was involved with the flashbangs. But anyway, let me just say that what happened there is that when one branch of law enforcement says they need help, another branch of law enforcement is going to respond and is obligated to respond. And so the minute that protest left the federal building, then that's when LAPD were involved. So the cooperation that you're referring to, I believe, is the cooperation around coordinating with ICE in terms of raiding workplaces or arresting people who are undocumented.
What's your exact understanding of the timeline for how long the National Guard is going to be here, how long the raid is going to continue, is it going to be daily raids?
I have no exact timeline. I cannot tell you that. That's part of the problem, right? We do not know. I have heard a variety of days and weeks. I certainly hope that this is over. The last thing this city needs is civil unrest, and the last thing this city needs is civil unrest that's provoked.
Quick follow-up. So I've seen LAPD fire point blank foam bullets over bullets into the ground, but in some cases directly at protesters. Can you speak about what kind of orders are under in terms of handling people protesting?
I can't in terms of the specific orders that are being given by the chief or the other commanding officers.
So will you be speaking then to Chief Donald?
I'm going to speak to him the next few minutes.
Okay, great.
Yes, I'm leaving from here to meet with him.
Great. What is in the plan for tomorrow? Because let's say presumably this does not.
Right. Well, you know, I think one thing is that because our city has always had a very robust immigrant rights movement and infrastructure and institutions
Robust.
that have been around
That's the
for
word for
several
today.
decades. There is a history of having peaceful protests here. Now, you know, like any crowd, if we're talking about after an athletic event, everybody celebrates. There's always a handful of people that tend to be at the end and tend to hang around and might get into mischief and violence. But that's not the people who are putting on the protests. I tell you that to say that when those protests have been organized, they've been organized in a proper way. The problem is what happens at the end, and that's one thing that is difficult with crowd control, whether it is a political protest or whether it is a football game.
Did you say you talked to Tom Holman?
Yes, I did talk to Tom
What
Holman.
did he tell you?
Well, he just listened. I mean, the main
said
thing
he
he
coming to
said
get
was he
you.
appreciated that there was a call for no violence. I'm not exactly sure what was expected, but you know, I was encouraging him not to deploy the National Guard. I knew that the order had been given. The president had signed the order to the governor that he was federalizing the National Guard, that 2,000 troops were going to be deployed, but that didn't mean that they would actually be deployed onto our streets. So my conversation with him was trying to encourage to prevent the deployment. Obviously,
They
that did not.
crazy.
Meeting with the police chief and anybody else, or just the police chief?
The police chief, the sheriff, and the governor.
Clearly, there's about peaceful protest, we're hearing the noises outside as this crowd's getting closer and presumably more violent as they're coming up through the streets here. I know it's nice to talk about peaceful protests.
That's not peaceful what was happening. It's not peaceful for people to be on the highways. It's not peaceful for people to throw rocks or bottles. That's not
Wow, she said it. But you said it's a peaceful protest. There we go.
The LAPD and the Sheriff's Department try to distance themselves from the actions of these immigration actions and work being done. They're against authority in a lot of ways. They're standing inside City Hall and your office. It's not necessarily against you. How do you distance yourself but also kind of...
And she just admitted it wasn't peaceful.
Well, and let me just tell you that I don't think there's any equivocating on nonviolence. And if you are going to entertain violence, if you are going to try to take over a freeway, then you are going to suffer the consequences of doing
So
that.
you did need
I don't think that
the
LAPD,
National
the
Guards.
sheriff, and certainly not myself, are not shying away from statements like that.
Any details about what the National Guard mission is going to be?
I'm sorry?
Any details about what the National Guard mission is going to be within LA? Where they're going to be deployed?
Well, all what I know right now is that the mission of the National Guard is to protect federal property and the federal building, which is why you have only seen them there. You have not seen them out in the community or anything like that. And just in terms of, to close, to wrap up,
Nancy Pelosi
I just have to say
had to
that,
deploy the
again,
National Guard.
Our city has been through
Trump
a lot
requested
since
it.
the beginning of the year. And now thinking that there is a large percentage of our city that is terrified, that is not going to know if they go to sleep tonight and they go to work or they go to school, will that be the last day they do that? Will that be the last day they see their
Yeah, he was
family?
denied deploying troops.
We can't have this in our city. Los Angeles is a city of immigrants where 50% of the population is Latino.
Not American, right?
Percentage of the populations are from
Not
Asian
American.
countries and
So
from
she's
all
saying
over
not
the world.
American.
And we embrace all.
Not a city of
individuals. It doesn't matter
Americans.
where
Listen
you
to
came
this.
from or when you got here. But the most important thing right now is that our city be peaceful. And so
But he didn't have. He only
protest and
could request
expressing
it.
your, fears, your beliefs is appropriate to do, but it is just not appropriate for there to be violence. And I don't want people to fall into the chaos that I believe is being created by the administration completely unnecessarily. Thank you very much.
See, this is California.
But it
Gotta
is
say
just
this.
not appropriate for there to be violence, and I don't want people to fall into the chaos that I believe is being created by the administration completely unnecessarily. Thank you very much.
I don't know if they muted her. This is peaceful. Look at all the graffiti. Look at all this. Welcome to America. Third world country. So welcome to LA. They were Americans. These are not Americans. They don't have a right to do this in our country. Period. They have to follow the law. Look at this. These are not Americans. January 6th were all Americans. These are not Americans taking over our country. That's going. January 6th supposed to justify this. Trump, Trump, Trump. happen, something even more serious is probably going to jump off. Yeah, we need martial law. This is just ridiculous. This should have never happened. Yeah, Jesus is coming. Yeah, Lord, protect our country. They think January 6th is supposed to justify if people are legally here doing this to our country. It doesn't. Those Democratic leaders are disgusting. This is what Mayor Bass and Governor Newsom allowed all of this. And they felt like this was supposed to just escalate and keep going on. How are you going to stop ICE from doing their jobs and police officers from doing their jobs? When did they become above the law? Like when did the illegal immigrants become above the law? When did that happen that they're not required to follow the law, that they're so emboldened that they can stop and the officers from doing their jobs? When did that happen? When have you ever seen people be able to beat up on cops and get away with it that are Americans? That are Americans. That they could go by and the cops don't shoot them. When has that happened?
Huh? ICE deputy talking about it.
Yeah, it really doesn't make any sense. Like when did it became normal for illegal immigrants to be able to take over our country? When did that happen? That they're supposed to just run around, set cars on fire, vandalize buildings, attack cops, Homeland Security, and the military. They're supposed to destroy property, spray paint the whole freaking city. Then they're supposed to, and this is what they're doing to protect the criminals. They're trying to stop them from arresting the criminals. They didn't just go in. When ICE comes in, they already know about the people. They know who they're going to get. They know everything about them. And they interfere. These people are interfering with arresting criminals. Are y'all understanding that?
I'm not laughing at that, yeah.
From arresting criminals. And they feel that they can do that. No, they can't. Because whatever they do, they think that they have the power to take over our nation. They forgot that 77 million people voted to get them out. The majority. Did they forget that the majority of people want them gone? And this is an example why people are going to push to get them out even more so.
Biden never going to win again. Someone said, make our cities great again.
Yeah, make our cities great again. This is not a good... Trump could do a commercial on this. I mean, they could do commercials on all the Republicans now could take all these blue states. This is what's happening in blue states run by Democrats. You know, all the sanctuary cities are in blue states. So they need to now take all this footage and now put out commercials. Because what they're forgetting is that they didn't win over the majority of Americans. The majority of Americans don't want this under any circumstances. This is not a winning message that we want y'all to stay here. Not like this.
Look at this
Huh?
mayhem that Joe Biden and Democrats has
And
caused.
this is all because of the Democrats. And it's not even the immigrants' fault. They opened the borders for them. The Democrats did this. They gave us this problem. This wasn't a problem we didn't have. Like Jay-Z said, 99 problems, but this wasn't one of them.
Good evening to you, too.
They did this. Now we got 99 problems because of this administration, former administration. But they're not going to run over ICE from doing their job. They're not going to stop them from what they're supposed to do. Step aside and say, oh, the illegal immigrants who aren't citizens here that are criminals as far as they're concerned because they entered this country illegally. They're telling us that we don't want y'all locking up any criminals.
Don't want to say.
And what Americans supposed to say? Okay. Americans, citizens, we must say, okay, the illegals don't want them to go after the criminals and lock them up.
Joey, why you say that, Joey? Explain yourself. Joey. Angry Joe.
Almost racist stream on the internet. One thing we're not going to do is flip the script. We're not talking about ethnicity.
Peter, this is not...
We're talking about this is United States of America.
Peter, we're Americans. This
and
seems
this
like
is
it's
one
not your
nation
country.
under God.
And first
this
off,
is our country.
And this is first off Native American land.
That's what we're talking about. This has nothing to do with race. This has to do with the damage that's being done to this country in present time because of the former administration. This is the aftermath of Biden's administration. Everything that's going on in this country, from the wars in Gaza, the war in Ukraine, from same-sex marriages to men and women's sports, to the illegal immigrants and the people being on our Social Security, our Medicare, our health care, bankrupting the system, $36 trillion worth of debt that we're dealing with. That's the Democrats caused the majority of all of this. We, as Americans, we should be trying to make America first. Like focus on getting out of debt, getting our inflation down, our economy, getting more jobs for American citizens, taking care of our vets, taking care of our homeless, get our homeless off the street. You know, all Americans are last on the list. That when the last time you heard a Democrat talking about doing something for Americans? I'll wait. They don't talk about doing anything for Americans. The only thing they talk about are the illegal immigrants because they want to legalize them so that they can have a voting block because they already got the black vote on lockdown. So they figure they bring them in and they get more electoral votes because it's not the popular vote. That's why they have them in certain states so they can increase electoral votes so that they can win all the future elections. That's why they are here. They don't care that they're destroying the country. They don't care of us going bankrupt. Because like America will crash and burn, there will be no country. You know, that's where they don't care about what happens to citizens. They don't care about Americans having jobs. They didn't care about Americans' inflation. They couldn't even run on their policies because they weren't any. So
Madison Sheehan. Madison, let me just get your take on the images we're seeing on the screen right now. What do you say to all of this?
Well, look, I think it's unacceptable that people are out treating law enforcement this way, treating the National Guard this way. You know, these men and women protect the United States of America every single day, and they're just not being treated with the respect that they deserve for putting their lives on the line to protect the American people from the open border policies that the Biden administration has for so long, forcing the men and women of ICE to go into these communities, get the worst of the worst out of the community.
The worst of the worst.
It's just completely disrespectful what you're seeing done to these men and women.
when we talk about the worst of the worst, Secretary Holman has released a list of some of the people who have been captured in this operation in Los Angeles. Can you, I think you're familiar with some of the names and some of the charges that these people are facing. Can you tell us about them?
Illegals, illegals, illegals.
Absolutely. President Trump and Secretary Noem have set a mission for ICE to get the worst of the worst out of these communities, whether it's child rapists, human traffickers, murderers.
That's who they're going
after.
after.
In your community, and we've been working in LA and the surrounding areas to get these people out of the community to keep the American people safe. President Trump had a mandate from the American people to deliver on this promise, to secure the border and allow enforcement to happen in the interior, and that's what the men and women of ICE have put their lives on the line to do every single day, and they're being attacked by the public for these actions, and it's just unacceptable what we're seeing here.
I'm going to read some of the names of people who've been arrested this week. Quang Chon Phan, a 49-year-old illegal alien from Vietnam, whose record includes a conviction for second-degree murder. He'd been sentenced to 15 years to life. Rolando Veneracion Enriquez, who has a criminal history of burglary and sexual assault and assault with intent to commit rape. These are the kinds of people who have been arrested, and yet there are folks in the street there trying to suggest, I guess, that ICE should not be detaining them. It's bonkers.
It is. It's absolutely crazy. This is the narrative that the Democrats continue to push, that the men and women of ICE are not protecting the American people, and that's just completely false. They are out working to get the worst of the worst out of these communities, so that way they do not continue to go into American communities and wreak havoc on the American people. We are working every single day to stop this invasion from happening, stop the rhetoric that has continued to put officers in harm's way. Look, just as Mr. Holman said, just as Secretary Noem has said, you have a right to protest in this country. You have a right to voice your First Amendment rights. But what you do not have a right to do is to harm law enforcement and harm other people in the way of that. And that's what we're seeing right now.
How do you feel about the level of support that you have received from the mayor of Los Angeles and the governor of California?
Well, look, they just haven't shown up for the American people and, quite frankly, for their own constituents. And it's time for the Democratic Party to start showing up for the American people, the people that they represent. There was a mandate delivered to President Trump in this election to be able to deliver this for the American people, secure the border, enforce laws in the interior. And that's what we're doing at ICE every single day. That is what Secretary Noem has committed to the American people. And with the leadership of President Trump and his full support, the men and women of ICE know that they can go out into the community and keep the American people safe.
Well, speaking of safety, what about your officers, your agents? I mean, they are facing some real violence there in Los Angeles.
They're facing violence in Los Angeles and all over the country. We've seen over a 400% increase of violence against ICE officers, against the men and women of ICE who put their lives on the line to protect the communities. They're going after their families, their friends, they're doxing them, they're doing everything they can to put our law enforcement officers in harm's way, and our officers continue to step forward, meet the line of duty, and be able to do the mission that the American people have sent them on.
We appreciate them for it, and we appreciate you for coming on today. Madison Sheehan is the Deputy Director of Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Thank you.
Yeah, it's like it's just amazing that it doesn't even seem real. I don't know if this seems real to you guys. You know, if you're American and on the stream, just put USA. I want to see how many Americans are actually on this stream, and I want to hear your viewpoint. I mean, whether you Democrat, Republican, or Independent, like what do you think about what's going on? USA, USA, USA. So I'm gonna say USA, USA, USA. USA. I used to be a Democrat, but they went too far. Me too. I was a Democrat. They went too far. There's no way I can follow. This party has changed. The Democratic Party, it used to be the People's Party. It's not about the American people. It's not for the people. It used to be for the working class. They couldn't care less about us. And they don't even speak up for us ever. Look at all the interviews. It's never about the American people and about our welfare. Trump isn't for the people. Yeah, well, he's doing more for the people than I've seen any president has done since I've been able to vote. I mean, he came into office making $500 billion deals with Apple, $1 trillion deals in Saudi Arabia, $22 billion or more in Taiwan. He has closing down factories. China's great do all that building in cars. In Mexico, he shut that down, and now it's going back to Detroit, Michigan. He was out in Pennsylvania with the steel workers, and having a future for them. So it's a lot that he's been doing for this country. He's the only president I've seen that's come into office that's trying to bring money into the country. And guess what? That's what the tariffs are about as well. Trump said that the tariffs were unfair, that 170 countries, they charge us tariffs, but people don't have a problem with that. But the problem that Trump brought out is that they overcharge America by so much money. That's what he brought to the forefront. He wants it to be fair. Yeah, it's a lot going on. They have done a lot of destruction. A lot of destruction has been going on. And that's the worst part about, I don't know how this is going to end, because they're going to continue to make arrests. They're not going to stop. So I don't know how is it going to end. I'm surprised. Really, is that why? Yeah, I don't know what she's doing. The mayor there or the governor, but I don't think that would be able to handle this without the help of the National Guards. I don't believe that they could take care of this on their own. This is like what the city looks like now. Look at the whole. This is all live. Look all the graffiti. Look at this. Look at that. Look what they have done. Okay, we don't need to hear you coughing. Look at this. I don't know what is it with the graffiti. They must have went into every store and bought every can of spray paint that they could find. I don't know if his stream is coming off. This is like, I like this part. This is like showing a different.
This one's different from yesterday. This one, no good zoom, but more stable for walking around.
This is terrible. I'm gonna see if I could go back further in his live because there was some good shots. Giving you more example of, I mean, the damage is like I hope that the news show the results of what's been going on.
She's brave, bro. She's brave, but there's a thin line. There's a thin line between brave and stupidity. She says,
They talk about ICE wearing masks, but a lot of them wear masks. Look at this. They wear masks, and they don't want ICE to wear masks.
Well, hopefully she gets out of here. This once the mob mentality takes over, no one's gonna save you out here, man. The cops ain't coming. Jason. Yeah.
All these people wearing masks, and they want to say something about ICE wearing masks, but these people protest and riot with masks on.
I see her again. I'm trying to ask her some questions, but obviously she's not gonna want to talk that publicly. She's too heated, I could tell. Looks like CHP has this side of the 101 closed off. They're not that deep. The freeway, they got a bus, they got their funnel.
Yeah, which flag did they pledge their loyalty to? American first or nothing? This is not about America first. They don't give a darn about Americans, about this country. They don't even fly the American flag. You want to say anything, you guys? Or get off?
Another day, more Democrat destruction. It's nothing new at this point. But I'm serious. I'm about to move from this country. I know. Well, when I have my family, I think gonna definitely move because like him flying the Mexico flag in America, might have to go to somewhere like Australia or like Canada. What place you guys think is better, like Australia or Canada?
How you doing, man? Why are you trolling now?
I'm just joking, guys. But yeah, I mean, this isn't a safe country anymore. So it's not safe. Like, look what's going on. Canada. Someone said Canada. Okay. Yeah, I was thinking about Canada. Oh, life is great. Hey, life is great. They said no, Australia and Canada are far worse. Mr. Sauer said they have the right to fly any flag they want thanks to the United States. Oh, someone said Canada because it's close to America. Yeah, we're about to get an American flag, and represent, because we're Americans. Like, I forgot who put it like this, but they said, like, you got to say that, like, you're American, because different countries, like Africa, for example, they don't go like, I'm a white African, I'm a Japanese African, I'm a Spanish African. No, they're just African. And that's how I look at it now with, like, I'm an American. Like, yes, I'm a Black American, but at heart, I'm an American. Someone said they need Jesus. Yeah.
What's going on now is unacceptable. And I hope that this is an example. How many people in the chat believe that this is going to be a continuation that's going to be going on? That this is just the beginning of it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not 100% sure on that, but other places, other countries, like Canada and Australia, they don't say what race they are and they're like Canadian and they're Australian.
Like I'm white Canadian.
Yeah,
But they
so
didn't say Canadian.
because someone said, "Oh, Africa isn't a country, dummy," but that's not the point I'm trying to make.
Africa, what are they talking about? Is in a country?
I don't know.
It is a country.
Yeah.
This is like this is a good view of what's going on. They over top of it. I mean, the destruction is. This is not a way to say that we want you to stay in our country. This is not selling the case that they belong here. This is not working.
This is deal or no deal, and we're doing no deal right now. Yeah, they said Africa isn't a country, but that's not the point I was trying to make. Like I said, pick a country, pick any country you want.
China is not a country; it's a continent, and Canada is not a country; it's a continent. America isn't a country; it's a continent.
Yeah, but you guys since y'all want to be Einstein.
South America isn't a country; it's a continent.
Pick any country that you would like. Then, if you want to be technical, and just use what I said for that country.
God bless America and Trump. Wow. Look at what they did to the cop car. They threw a scooter. Look at this. They threw right. Look what they doing. Look what they doing. Yeah, look what they doing. Peaceful protest. Can we all agree this is a peaceful protest? You see, and they throwing boulders and look what they doing to the cop cars. When have that ever been allowed in the United States of America? All they gotta do is kill a cop out there. I want to see what they're gonna say then. Put a cop in the hospital. See what's gonna happen. Look at this. Look what they're doing. Look at this. Look at the glass broken. Look what they're doing. Look at that.
So these cars are unattended. On the other side, people are throwing rocks at the cops too.
Look at this. Who would have thought that this would be happening? Look at the cars. Do a scooter on there. Look at this. Obviously they didn't pay for those scooters. Those are the ones that think that they can rent in yeah. They can rent them. Look at them throwing the scooters to the. This is crazy. This is a peaceful protest, right? Mayor Bass and Governor Newsom. Look at this. If they would do this to cops, this is crazy. American citizens do not do this to cops, regardless of ethnicity. Americans do not do this to cops. This doesn't happen. This is crazy. They're not going to compare American citizens to illegal immigrants, what they're doing. They are illegally here. Americans, whatever crimes, whatever they commit, they are Americans. And they are dealt with through the judiciary system. These people are not even going through the judiciary system. They're being catch and release. Look at this. They try to say one thing to justify something else. Nothing justifies. You're saying you want to be part of this country? Really? I don't think this is winning the case for you. This is not a good poster for that they to say that all they got to do, the Republicans got to do is just show this and put this on a poster commercial and saying they want to be Americans, right? Or you think they're following our laws? Now you're supposed to act exceptionally well when you want something. You're supposed to go beyond the norm of good behavior because you want to become a citizen. So this is like not a good case for people. That Americans would say, "Oh, yeah, let them be citizens." This is not it. You can't take over the government and say you're not going to follow the laws of this country. You can't do that. You have to follow the laws. There's consequences for everyone who does it. How are you going to say you want to become? Look at how you respect those in authority over us, the police officers. How are you going to say that you want to become, maybe you don't want to become an American citizen. Maybe you don't. You like being illegal. You know, you're not even a citizen of this. This is not even your country. Destroying the property. Look at this. Vandalizing.
Got another scooter. Alright, so we're gonna move on from here. These cars are just gonna get totally destroyed little by little. Like all night long.
This is insanity on another level. Anybody to try to act like this is okay.
Where'd they go? They went back under the bridge?
Yeah, under the bridge. The cars, they're all here.
There's gonna be nothing left of those cars. crazy out here. Anyway, right now we're at North Main, shooting the 101. They got the freeway blocked off. CHP has just the East 101 closed off. They blocked it down to one lane. They blocked it down to one lane on the other side. But sorry, man. Anyone send a super chat? Thank you. I can't read the super chats at all. All the people are throwing rocks from across the way. As long as we don't get banned, we're on. So CHP is taking cover under the bridge here. I mean, they're just surrounded here. They put themselves in a bad spot. All the protesters, all the people throwing shit, they got the high ground on them. They're underneath the freeway. Look, you can see people throwing rocks down at the cars. From the angles they can reach them, but then they just pop out every once in a while and shoot some flashbangs. There goes some shots fired. They're in a bad spot. I hear man down? You say man down? Getting here, there was a bunch of Waymos got set on fire. This was what's left of them. Your boyfriend David? This is what's left of them. People were calling in the Waymos and burning them. Fire department showed up.
That was a car.
Hopefully this is not a copyrighted drum beat right here. see that. Actually, Christy Harwell, thank you for that super chat.
The fire department couldn't even come out until till the cars completely burnt down to the ground. They couldn't even safely come out to put the car fires out. They rode on people's houses, people's businesses. They just, this is just, I mean, they couldn't even come out to put out the fire because of their safety. Look at the damage to the buildings and the houses and everything. Look at the street. I mean, are you happy now? They think that this is going to work. Lawlessness, no law and order, that Americans are going to do what they tell us to do.
That's 5 Waymo's down. Looks like we got some LAPD on standby here. Probably to prevent the Waymos from getting called. People were saying that people were calling in the Waymos for pickups, and they showed up. People started burning them.
Wow.
I'm sure whoever called them is going to get a good looking at. I don't think there's any way to prove that they did on purpose. We got CHP blocking the entrance here to the 101.
This has just been so crazy that I don't understand anything about how this is supposed to be a peaceful protest. I really don't get it. How anybody can, in a right mind, how are you going to justify this? It's like, how do you justify this? It doesn't make any sense. Like, this is not the way. Especially if you want people to support you and you want people to support you. You know, this is not how you get support. You know, for your cause or whatever the case may be. This is not it. It's not it. This doesn't make any sense. Nobody's going to support this because this is on a whole nother level of ridiculous. I mean, this is, I don't know. What do you guys call it? You think that they're going to get the support other than I guess some people are going to still support this are the Democrats. And I don't know, how do you justify this? How do you justify all of this? Like, what's the justification for this? How do you possibly justify the behaviors? That's what I want to know. I want to know, how do you justify the behaviors? Because I don't see it. I don't see how you justify this. You know, they're not supposed to follow the law, or are they supposed to follow the law? You know, what's the justification for these actions? Why haven't the governor, why didn't he do more to have some order? Why did he allow all this to happen? It doesn't make any sense. Why would he allow this to happen? You know, who in their right mind want this to happen? I'm saying, it's like, people, I'm just trying to like try to find, like, what's the justification for all of this? How could anybody possibly justify this and say this is okay? Because you're not going to tell the law, the cops, Homeland Security, ICE, the President of the United States. You're not going to tell them what to do, because we all have to follow the law. And if they're in this country, legally or illegally, you're still supposed to follow the law of the land. And this just does not seem to be the agenda. It's like, do what you want to do, and that's it. Like, burn it down, the destruction. There's nothing peaceful about what's been going on. There's nothing peaceful about it. Nothing at all. This is so out of order, and it's been allowed. They got now they could have masks on, they could do all of this stuff, and nobody says anything about them having masks on. But they want ICE to remove their masks, and they're trying to protect themselves. They're in the cop's face. You don't see American citizens doing this. American citizens aren't this emboldened. Look at them. Got gloves, scarf, trying to hide their identity. Look at this, to this degree. Gloves, coats, masks, scarves.
Probably past the point.
And this is in San Francisco. You know, they had to go to different, I guess, areas because of the fact that they're setting so many fires and there's so much that's going on that, I mean, we're not used to all this, and it's still going on. This is live. It's like, it's still going on. This has been like nonstop, just destruction. It's been nonstop.
Right.
Along with a fire extinguisher to put out those flames. So it was quick thinking.
Look at what they would do to police cars.
To just be on it.
Look, this is incredible. Look at this.
What these people were doing, but we're watching this. Yet more of these concrete.
All this destruction. Where's the mayor at?
And
why isn't a mayor?
We're focusing on this right now.
I want to know, why isn't the mayor or the governor having a news conference? Where's the mayor at? Look at this. Where's the governor at? Why aren't they calling for peace in their own city? Why aren't they taking any action? They should be having a news broadcast to tell people to cooperate with law enforcement, to go home and let them handle it. The mayor did. Yeah, I saw the little fake little 5-minute news conference she did, but that's not enough. Obviously, it's not enough. The governor should be, where are all these news channels? They should be interviewing the governor. He should be saying something about this. This is being done under their watch. Look at what they're doing to the police cars. This is under their watch. They don't care about the safety of their law enforcement.
Marine layer there, our pilot and John doing a great job in SkyCal, but something clearly worked. I didn't catch what they threw. Oh, look, they're spraying something from the overpass. So they're dropping some sort of what would look like to be incendiary or, flammable liquid accelerant. Thank you. That they dropped onto the car. So whatever that was, that did the trick. And we'll see if these fire extinguishers will handle it before it reaches, the oil, the gas, and the engine inside of that CHP cruiser. But
there's something else right there.
These protesters, they got it. So now we'll probably watch the CHP car go up in flames. As you guys, I just mentioned, we're dealing with the marine layer here. And not only are we dealing with the marine layer, but law enforcement is going to deal with the marine layer too. And if the marine layer moves into such an effect that they can't have helicopters in downtown, that's going to be a big hamper to them because they lose their eye in the sky, which is so crucial in civil unrest situations like this.
Yeah, and truly monitoring what is happening on the ground there. This set of people were trying for several attempts to set this CHP car on fire, and now we've seen it. Those flames actually grow there. But take a look. It looks like maybe CHP was successful in using that fire extinguisher
It looks that way.
Able to prevent that from fully catching fire there.
Let's get back to Lori Perez down there on the ground, getting a look at things. Lori, what are you seeing?
Yeah, so I can tell you that when those flames did kind of erupt from that car, there was a gasp here from the crowd and then cheers. I mean, that's the kind of element that we have out here at this point. You can hear those really loud explosives going down there. People are launching fireworks down there as well. And there seems to be a response of law enforcement headed this way as things.
No control over this city.
Kind of taking a little bit of a turn.
This is called not having control.
At this point. The only good thing that I can tell you we are seeing here on the ground is, again, this crowd is just a fraction of what it was when we arrived. I mean, when we first got here, there were thousands of people. Now, a couple hundred, which is certainly much more manageable, even though they do seem to be much more aggressive. But hopefully law enforcement can try and get a hold of what's happening here, kind of dispersing.
It's huge tonight. I give him a lot of credit.
Okay, excuse us there. We know Lori was saying that there were several CHP officers racing past her in their patrol cars as we continue to see fireworks just get thrown.
Multiple,
even more fireworks, right? Get thrown down below on the 101 where just a couple CHP vehicles do remain, officers not in them, but there are several officers still under that bridge there.
Yeah, and sort of peeking out every time. We've had a couple instances, including the big one with the fire. Lori, what else are you seeing?
Yeah, so I just wanted to show you down Los Angeles Street, we can now see a large group of police officers. You know what? Let's get past these people here.
Oh, look at those American flags.
You can see a large group of police officers marching this way, perhaps to try and, on the ground at least, push back.
Ready to reduce your business's operating
This has been crazy. This has just been like the craziest thing. It's unacceptable. Yeah. That's what I say. This is all so unacceptable that Trump needs to deploy the Marines. He needs to deploy more of the Army, National Guards, or whatever. He needs to shut this city down.
Isn't it funny how they were saying some people still say Trump had an agenda when in actuality the Democrats had an agenda this whole time.
The agenda, yeah, you know, that's an excellent point. They kept saying how Trump had the agenda, and they've been the ones that had the agenda all along. Open borders, you know, the two wars in Gaza, inflation, the economy, the Taliban, they get $40 million to them per week.
It's crazy.
Cash payment for the last 3 or 4 years. Biden was doing it. Him being unfit for duty, the auto pen,
his whole family,
pardon his entire family. I mean, he wasn't even a president. This is crazy. Even when it was time to run for office, they tried to throw Kamala in there. She didn't even do a primary. I mean, their agenda was to open the borders, to allow this to happen. So they thought they was going to get another voting block. But they're still trying to get it. They want to legalize this.
That's why Trump just put the executive order that just because if you're an immigrant and have a kid here, your kid still isn't legal because,
right,
you know, birthright citizenship. They're trying to do the loop-de-loop.
They got people, I don't think it's good for them to be on horses. Y'all, they destroying cars, and here y'all galloping on freaking horses. Y'all not safe. Ain't no way I would saddle up, go out there. They gonna saddle up to go out there. That is crazy. They're going to saddle up to go out there with them crazy people. Yeah, Biden, he was freaking president when George Floyd got murdered. He said he was going to promise the anti-hate crime bill. Guess what happened with that? This is disgraceful. This is absolutely disgraceful. Look, we don't do all this. Ain't no way we was about it. Cops, they would be shooting everybody. This is crazy that this stuff is actually just being tolerated. And it's unheard of. And these are people that they're not even supposed to be here. You don't have the same rights as American citizens. You don't have the same rights. You're trying to have rights. You don't have rights. You're trying to act like the rights that we have is the same rights that you have, and it's not like that. You're not American. But you can have those rights. You can come into this country, be vetted, and go through the legal system and get your certificate of naturalization and become a United States citizen. And see, when you don't do it that way, that's why there's no respect for this country. See, when they go through the process, they learn the history, they learn all about the country, and they learn to respect the country, and because they have to earn to be here. But see, this is what happens like with kids, you know, when you give them what they want, they don't have to earn it. They don't have to work for it. You get someone a car, but that your child didn't have to work to get the car, they don't appreciate it. And that's what's happening. They didn't have to come into this country and earn to be here or pay like other people that came in that's seeking naturals, you know, their certificate of naturalization to become United States citizens. You know, that's why they're acting this way, because luxury apartments was handed to them, healthcare was handed to them, the educational system was handed to them, college, cars. They didn't even have to have licenses to drive and can't even drive or speak the language. They could go get on a plane and they don't have to have a real ID. All these things were going on. Everything was handed out. Healthcare, Social Security, Medicaid, all these things. Preferential treatment, protection that American citizens weren't given. Look at all the stuff that was done for them. And this is the result of it. This is what happens when you just give things to people. You don't respect things when you have to earn it. They don't respect America. This is an example. They don't respect our laws. They don't respect our country. They don't respect our infrastructure. They don't respect anything. There's no respect. And that's what this is all about. There's no respect for our country. And that's why this is going on. And then we got the Democrats, got people so brainwashed, even people that should look at this and say, this is wrong, period. And they're acting like this okay. They'll say, oh, what about January 6th? Oh, January 6th, they already been tried, went through that, but they were American citizens. They're not American. They were Americans. And they didn't do this to police cars. They didn't throw rocks at officers and all this. They didn't do all of this. This is on another level. And they say, and they don't want to follow our laws, but they want to do what they want to do in our country. But they got to remember, there's 77 million United States citizens that voted against them being here. And this is an example why people are going to make sure that the Democrats do not hold future offices. They're going to do all they can to keep them out of power because they caused all this mess. They caused everything that's going on. They caused this. This is what they're doing. And this is not for us. There's nothing about what's going on that benefits American citizens. And our elected officials have done a disservice to our citizens by taking us through all of this. Because it's unfair to the illegal aliens that came in, and it's unfair to American people to have to go through this. You know, every country has a process becoming a citizen. You can't go to China and do this. You can't go to Germany and do this. You can't go to Canada and do this. You can't go to Russia and do this. And this has never been done in the United States of America with foreigners coming into this country illegally and causing all of this destruction. This is new. This is the new America because of the Democratic Party. And I blame them for this. Not the people being destructive. I blame the Democratic Party because you can't just open up the border and allow all this to come in here because you get everything and everybody. And this is the result of it. This is the result. And now we got a problem. We got a problem, Houston. And it's not going away overnight. Yeah, we could thank Biden for this. Y'all make sure y'all thank a Democrat for this. Y'all thank Biden because this is not it. So anyway, you guys, it's late. Thank you to my moderators. Thank you for joining us. We're going to catch up with this tomorrow. Now, this is still going on for the 4th day. Then Trump going to get the Marines and everyone else in there. But we should be hearing from the governor of freaking California. I mean, a real news conference about, because they need to now zoom in on fake behind news reporters. What they should be doing is taking in news crews, and they should be looking at all the damage. Once everything clear up, that's when you can see all the damage that has been done. That's what they need to be doing. And they need to be interviewing the governor. How do you feel? What do you feel about it now? What's your take on it now? How come you allowed this to happen? How come you didn't come and calm the people down? Why didn't you tell them that they can't interfere with law enforcement? Why didn't you tell them that they can't break our laws? Why didn't you tell them that? Why didn't you tell them that ICE was there to arrest the criminals? That's why they were there. They'd already did their homework. They already knew who they were coming for. Why didn't you tell them to stand down? But no, they encouraged all of this. So we're going to see what's going to happen tomorrow. And they're acting up in New York, but that's normal. They're acting up there too. But this isn't nowhere near over with, because this is what the Democrats did to this country. And they continue to support this. They continue to push this at our expense. And that's so unfair to American citizens. And I hope to God that none of them get reelected, because they need to take accountability for this. This is not fighting for your rights, for when you're not even supposed to be here in the first place. And this is not a good example for Americans to want you to remain here. And this is what we are going to have to deal with in the future. This is not a good selling point why, we should accept this. This is terrible. This is bad. So anyway, you guys, don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe, and the notification bell. We probably are going to jump on here tomorrow, because this is nowhere. I want to hear from Trump, what he's going to have to say about it. I want to hear from Hakeem Jeffries and some of the other Democratic leaders. I saw they had Maxine Waters out there talking about, don't shoot us, and just trying to make, I guess she wanted to have a newspaper headline. It's just crazy. These people, I want to go in there and see what's happening. How come you don't go to your local prison with Americans in there and see how those Americans are being treated? They only do this for the news. How come they don't? You got all these prisons that are housing American citizens. Why don't y'all go to see about the welfare of them? But y'all want to go see how people that have been arrested for murder, that are illegally here, that have done multiple crimes, I want to see how they're doing, how they're being treated. Really? Really? You're not doing that for us. You're not fighting for Americans, because y'all have an agenda. The Democrats have an agenda, and their only agenda is to legalize them, because they want the voting bloc. So anyway, you guys, thanks for joining us. Don't forget you can leave your comments after the stream. I do read them, go over them, and we'll respond. But this is crazy. It looks like we have become a third world country, because this doesn't look like America right now. This has been days of this, and I think we have more to come. So anyway, you guys, thank you. Have a good one. Thank you, moderators. Love you. God bless you. God bless you guys. Everyone on here, thank you for your participation. Peace out.